Come on.
4K.
4K, Clem.
Yeah, 4K. But it is what it is, man. You're recording, innit?
What?
No, like you
I'm
started
always recording.
innit?
Come on, yeah.
Calm. Yeah, let's start this shit straight away. Welcome to the Nothing New podcast, episode 6, 7. No one gives a fuck. Welcome to Nothing New podcast. For this week's episode, you've got me, Clement. You've got Ore. You've got Esmond. We're gonna get straight into the shits straight away this week because obviously I have a lot of things that have been happening. Before I speak, do you guys have anything you'd like to like to say? Get off your chest.
No.
Go through, bro.
Go through, yeah.
We're following you. Let's go. Go through.
Okay, thank you very much. So the first topic we're going to be tackling is a lot of the things that I've been seeing from a lot of British people in regards to the George Floyd situation and in regards to racism. I don't know, for some reason a lot of you still can't get it through your fucking thick skulls where you hide behind this idea of, oh, we're not as British as we're not as British, we're not as racist as Americans are. You have to understand the damage the British Empire has caused to the black community, not just to the black community, also to Africa. So there's loads of things that I'm gonna say right now. In the UK, in England, wherever the fuck, 4% of the UK is black, is considered as black or African or Caribbean or whatever you want to, however way you want to divide us up. 4%. 40% out of the people living in poverty are black people, right? 40% of the people living in poverty in this country are black people. So explain to me how we can only make up 4% of the population, but yeah, we make up 40% of the poverty line, right? If you look into the British fucking justice system, whatever you want to fucking call it, the prison system. Oh, we're not as racist as America. America has 80% of black people in jail, blah blah blah. 8% of the people in jail in America are black. Bro, what about here? 50% of people in jail in this country are black, but you're not as racist as America. Oh, okay, fair enough. I'm just gonna let you know how it might not be as blatant and in your face, and the police, actually, I can't even say the police are not killing us because, oh, guess what again? If you're black, you're 2 times more likely to die in a police custody in the UK, but it's fine. You're not racist as America. Let's look at the institutional racism. A lot of jobs in this country requires you to have a uni degree where you do not need a uni degree to be able to do the job.
At all.
I'm gonna speak honest. Like, for example, I work in sales. You do not need a uni degree to be able to call somebody and sell some shit to them, actually. In fact, black people were very good at doing that, if we're being honest. But by saying that you need a uni degree, because like I said earlier, 40% of the people who live in poverty are black. A lot of us can't afford to go to fucking university, even with the government loan. Ore, as you were saying yesterday, what you were looking for, what were you looking for yesterday? You were looking for accommodation, right? The government gives you 9 grand. The accommodation is how much? 7,500. So you're left with 1,500 to buy food, do transport for the whole year, right? Because we cannot afford to go to, a lot of us cannot afford to go to university and study in higher education. So do you know what we do? We start working straight away from the age of 18 or from the age of 16 to support the family, because council tax needs to be paid, electricity needs to be paid. So because of that reason, a lot of us cannot go to university. So because a lot of us cannot go to university, you have to understand that a lot of opportunities are shut for us, which keeps our people marginalized and oppressed, because we can no longer get a job like working in sales, which you do not need a fucking uni degree to be able to do, to call somebody and sell them shit. So if that's still in your head, still makes you think that British people are not as racist as fucking Americans, then this is the last thing I'm gonna fucking say. Not as racist, they're still fucking racist. It doesn't matter what, racism isn't a fucking spectrum. It's not a fucking spectrum, bro. You can't go, oh yeah, we're only like a 5 out of 10 racist. Oh no, our country's only a 7 out of 10 racist. What the fuck does that mean? It's not a fucking spectrum, bro. You don't look at other people and go, well, at least I'm not as racist as him. But like if I had AIDS and I go, oh, at least my AIDS ain't as bad as his. Bro, you still have AIDS. You're still racist. So if any of you are fucking smoke, and I swear to God, I see somebody say, oh, all lives matter. There was something I saw earlier on, which is like, oh, Muslims lives matter. Nobody's saying that Muslims' lives don't matter. Everybody knows that Muslims lives matter. That's the whole fucking point. And I get that a lot of Muslims are killed every year, all this stuff. I don't want to be insensitive towards that, but you have to understand, as black people, we're fucking angry right now. Because we walk into a room, the first thing somebody notices about us is the fact that we're black. And because of that, they've already made the judgment about us. And granted, you white people don't like the same thing being done for you at the moment, where rightfully so, some of us black people look at you, and before you can prove to us that you're not a racist, we already think you're a racist, because that's the only thing we have going. That's the only way we know who the racists are. You all have that one thing in common, being white. The same way you look at us and you automatically see us as a threat, because that's the one thing we have in common, being black. Except we've done nothing to deserve this. We've done nothing to deserve for you to look at us and think we're a fucking threat. Sorry, man. Yeah. Bruv.
No, I
It's
hear
just...
that one loud and clear. So
Loud.
yeah, the thing is, it's so true. Like and the thing is, what you're saying is so true. Cause it's not even like, we can go on any scale. Like it could be extreme, it could be minuscule. There's microaggressions. There's racism in the workplace that just goes unnoticed and gets brushed on the carpet. There's the way the police handle us. The way even say if us three were in a car and it's a nice car, say it's like a big like a range that I've worked hard
we'll
for
be
with
stopped.
legit
We'll
money.
be stopped. We'll be stopped.
If it's a group of white dons or a group of us, we're 100% getting stopped. And I see it happen all the time. I've experienced it myself. It happens all the time. Just because, they'll give you that rubbish like, these kind of cars get nicked all the time and they switch the number plates and this, and they'll be telling you rubbish. And even the way they even approach you when you're like in the car, something like you're already, it's like, okay, we understand that maybe, okay, cool, we might be a threat. We could have weapons in the car, whatever. But when I see white people getting stopped, it's like, fam, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna be so real. I've never seen a white person getting stopped on the side of the road. That's me personally, innit? But all I've seen online is people getting stopped, and it's calm. But it's like the way they approach black people. There was even a video in America. There was the two cars driving down the road. Yeah, the first car was a white, there was a white people in a car. Yeah, and they're all waving at the camera and they're all having a jolly up. Yeah. The second car is a car with two black people, a male and a woman, yeah, in the passenger seat. And the way they run into like the police, there's armed police, like all riot shield and all things, and they've come and they've draped them out the car, like say they've done something wrong. But there's two cars there, but they've specifically targeted that second car and then just draped them out of the car like violently. So I think just now before I didn't even get to catch it properly, but I think I saw that they've been sacked or something's been done. But still, it's just I feel like because it's been captured on video and put on the internet for everybody to see, that's why things are being done. I feel like if it wasn't being recorded or if no one knew about it, it'd just be swept under the carpet.
It would be swept under the carpet. Yep.
It's your word against theirs. So therefore, it's like if it's not recorded, that's what I'm saying. Even we'll get onto the Black Lives Matter, the hashtags and everything, but it's like even with this whole black screen thing, it's like you're watering down the content. It's like if you put that Black Lives Matter hashtag there and all we see is black screens, all the news and all the stuff that we should be seeing, that we should be making, noise of, will be like lost in loads of all this rubbish. And I feel like this is what the people who are racist or who don't support this Black Lives Matter movement will be supporting. Like, put this black screen. And I'm seeing loads of people putting this black screen, but they ain't said nothing. But they've one put black screen just to as like a PR thing. But
that's the one thing I just wanted to, like, the way we started. The one thing I wanted to tackle straight away and just get out of the way is I know personally from the people I know, none of them are saying that England or the UK isn't a racist country. Just for the people out there who are saying that, innit? The UK is as racist as it comes, bro. So when a lot of people say, oh, the UK is not racist, the UK is not this, you have to then look at the effect colonialism has had on Africa and just on the black community in general. So, for example, we look at Nigeria, a country where Oriana is from, right? In the 1900s, there was a company called the Royal Niger, look at the Nigerian name coming up, the Royal Niger Company. The Royal Niger Company.
Come on.
Right? So these were made up of companies all across Africa, all across Nigeria, what is now known as modern day Nigeria, all across Nigeria, where they were getting oil, palm oil, things like this, selling it, exporting it, importing it, and the money from those sales weren't given to the Nigerian people. They were obviously given back to the British economy because of this great British Empire. Cool. So how does this work? What they would do was they would go talk to the kings and queens of whatever it was that they would like to set up. they would discuss a contract of them in their home dialects. They would get a translator to discuss the kind of the content of the contract with them in their home dialect. And then once the contract was written up in English, right, it would then be changed to the point where it would be like, we now own this land, and any rebellion against us, we are allowed to kill you. We're going to bring in our soldiers and we're going to kill you. And there's loads of times when that has happened, where in their law, right, they own the land that your grandfather wasn't there, that your father before him wasn't there, even if your father wasn't there, but all of a sudden you own the land. Anyways, and then British people always stand behind this whole idea of, oh, we did colonialism to go spread democracy, to go do this, to go do that. So if your goal was to go spread democracy, why were you benefiting off our natural resources and then punishing us in return? And then because of this now, when we fought back, when we rebelled, you decided to leave. But not only did you leave now, your company now gets paid money by the Queen so you could leave. So the Queen pays you billions of pounds so you can then leave. So that's basically reparations. You're giving people reparations for oppressing us. Where is our fucking reparations? Where's our fucking reparations for all our natural resources you've been taking for years, for hundreds of years? Where's our reparations? Oh, well, we don't get nothing because we're dark skinned and we're seen as inferior to you. Fuck you. Anyways, so that's happened now. And then now you look at the current state of Africa and in our country, for example, you start to think about the knock-on effects that this has on generations of people, and you want to talk about you're not fucking racist. What the fuck are you then? What the fuck are you if you're not racist? Well, you love the human race. Huh? You're not racist. You're not racist, no? If you're not racist, why don't your prime minister say Black Lives Matter? Because that's so hard. That's so hard to say. It's so hard for the words Black Lives Matter, because a lot of you don't want to understand. A lot of you don't want to understand because we've put so many analogies down for you that you get. If you cut yourself now, or somebody cut you, and then I come with plasters and I go, you know what, yeah, all arms matter. So I'll give everybody plaster before you get a plaster. If you had cancer and you wanted chemo, and I go, no, everybody get chemo because all people matter. It's fucking dumb. How many ways do we have to spruce this up for you? We're not saying your lives don't fucking matter. Your lives matter. That is the point. Your lives matter. Our lives don't matter. Like I said, we're 2 times more likely to die in police custody because our lives don't fucking matter to you. What are we to you? We're just people who serve you at Tesco. Is that all you see us as? Is that how inferior you see us as?
Yeah, this guy's on. It's, bro. To be honest, I think it's just the expectation that they're gonna treat us any different, because when truly half the stuff that's being dealt with, or a lot of the stuff that's being dealt with, is only because it's being caught on camera and it's being caught live. Well, other than that, it wouldn't have been dealt with. So I think the expectation is to just see it as, if you're black and you walk to a certain place, you walk on a certain street, you just understand that you're going to get this kind of attention. So you can educate people all you want, you can teach people all you want.
All right. As much as I understand what you're saying, and I agree with you, but that's not gonna run no more. Is what I'm trying to say. That's not gonna run no more. There's only so many times you can punch a man till he starts punching back, and that's what I'm trying to say. Last week I said it's becoming very, very difficult to be a peaceful black person. It's becoming extremely, extremely difficult. There's only so many times you can punch somebody before I start punching back. I'm a peaceful person. I like to look at people on a human level. I take a humanistic approach to things. I don't care about your race. If you're a nice person, you're a nice person. I don't care if you're black. You could be an alien from outer space. I do not give a fuck. You could be white. You could be poor. I do not give a fuck. I take a humanistic level. But there are loads of people out there who don't. Like I was saying earlier on, the reason why is because you guys, because of the struggle you've put upon our people, there's one thing that unites us all. And that's the racism from you guys. We have to stick together because you racially subject us to things that we shouldn't be. And because of that, we see each other as one because we're all united under this whole banner of racism. And I know it's difficult for you guys to understand when we say, oh, white people this. And it's difficult for you to fathom the idea that somebody who looks like you can kill a person just because they're black. It's very hard to. I get it. It will be very hard for me to understand. But you just have to take our word for it. When we see you, we see the people who've been killing us for centuries. So because of that, we are not perceiving you as a threat. How does it feel? We're not perceiving you as a racist. How does it feel? It doesn't feel very nice, does it? And all of you white people who want to be protesting, who want to be doing this, kudos to you. Well done. Star. You get a gold star. Well done. Well done for standing up for what's right. But guess what? You're not helping. You're not helping. You want to go protest in Trafalgar Square? Go on, do your thing. The racist people don't live in Trafalgar Square. You know what they're doing? They're in their yard, eating their Sunday roast, watching you, thinking, oh, fucking hell, look at all these people in Trafalgar Square. Look at this, protesting Black Lives Matter.
So
go protest.
So you
Go
think that the
protest where those
protests?
people
So
live.
hold on. So you think the protests are useless, or like they're not.
I don't. It's not necessarily that I think the protests are useless. It's like Yom's used this analogy when I was speaking to him, and it was, if the three of us are standing in a burning building, right, and the people who are throwing, like our house is on fire. Let's say the three of us live in a house together and our house is on fire. The three of us are in there, and the people who keep throwing the fire, like the whatever you fucking call it, are throwing it at our house, and then you see it and you go, oh yeah, that's quite bad. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go stand in the house with the fire with us? Are you gonna stand in the house with the fire? No, you're gonna fight the people. So go fight. What I'm trying to say is, go fight the people who are being racist. Those people who are being racist, they're not in Trafalgar Square. You know where they are. Just look at the. I don't want to make any like fucking thing, but look at the last election, for example. Look at the last election. Not saying that racist people don't live in London, but we all know London is a diverse community. It's a multicultural community. It's very hard to not like someone if you've grown up with them. It's very hard to not like a Muslim person if your friend in class is Muslim. If you play football with a Muslim person, it's very hard not to. There's loads of studies about getting to know people. And then once you get to know them, all this race bullshit means nothing. But when you look at the last election now, you look at the landscape of the UK as a general, you look at places that voted Conservative. Not saying that Conservatives are racist, but they're racist. They're racist. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Not saying that they're racist, but they're racist. Look at those places who voted Conservative, those people who wanted Brexit, right? Go protest there. They're not feeling this. They're seeing it on TV. What does seeing it on TV do for them? They see you walking around with this, blah, blah, blah. If you're a white person, we can't go to those areas for the reasons that I just said, right? Yeah, we're getting arrested straight away. But you have the privilege. You have this thing called white privilege, which I know a lot of you now are aware of. You have this thing called white privilege. Travel to Shropshire. Go disrupt over there. Let them know. Let them feel it. Let them feel that who they are is bad. Don't come stand with us. We're doing what we're doing. You go do your bit now. You go do your bit. And you playing on Instagram. I understand that I could never understand. No. You can understand. You can. Just think about, you walk out of your yard. There's 10 black people outside, and the only reason they want to kill you is because you're black. Oh, no, because you're white, I mean. Would you understand it then? Oh, okay, you would. There you go. So you can fucking understand. And think about, you go apply for a job, you go to a job interview and you don't get it, and the reason is because you're white. Do you understand it then? You fucking understand. So go fucking protest in Shropshire and go protest in those areas where where in the last general election it was fucking Conservative landslide. The same fucking prime minister who said that we look like pickaninnies. As much as we want to joke about Boris and shit, he's the fucking. How can your country be led by racists and you want to say you're not a racist country?
If I see that guy in the corner shop, I'll slide tackle him, bro. He's a. I was like,
how can you say your country's not racist if you're led by? Somebody said the word pickaninnies. He described black people as pickaninnies with watermelon smiles. If that doesn't sound like a racist to me, I don't know. Maybe all he has to do is put on a white hood and say it. Maybe that's when you guys will fucking believe it.
But yeah, I hear all of that. I do hear all of that. But I'm just saying, with the protest, I think it'll be naive, or maybe, I don't know what the word is to say that maybe they're not, effective. I feel like with the protests and the petitions and stuff, it might not have a short-term effect where you see it now, but in the long term, I feel like when you do these protests and when you do bring people's attention to light, I feel like I think there's black people amongst us that don't really know our history, people who don't really know what's going on, or really miseducated of what's going on. Like, I was speaking to someone the other day, they said that the protesters in America got into the White House and stuff. It's just stuff like that.
Got
It's
into
like
the White
there's
House.
people. We'll down to that.
White House.
White House.
Mad.
Like they wouldn't pam you if you got like close to the fence. But anyway, I'm carrying. What's his name? Yeah. So there's people that don't know the history, are really misinformed. People who are following like Shade Borough, or whatever you call it, Shade Room, and all these pages on Instagram, and that's where they get their news from. I feel like these kind of protests and these petitions will probably, provoke people to go and do the necessary research, and go to, credible sources where they can get their information, know their history. So say me as a Ghanaian, if I didn't really know, I'd be like, okay, cool. So Clement on the Nothing New podcast has spoken about colonialism in Nigeria. Why don't I go and research it in Ghana so I know like my history and know how to go back? So I feel like all this stuff, it might not have a short-term effect on maybe the people that are higher up, and they might not hear it, might be falling on deaf ears. But I feel like the long-term effect, or the slow process of it becoming like us Black people stand together, and maybe find the necessary ways in order to fight this kind of this systematic injustice that's going on here. Like, just try and make people educate themselves, and like build a movement where we gather like in numbers, grow stronger in numbers, and things. So I feel like there is two sides to it, and I understand what you're saying, because obviously in London, like my next door neighbor is Chinese, and the people that live below me are white. Like, it is completely like multicultural, but I know what you're saying in Shropshire or whatever kind of ends there. It's just completely white people, and they probably never seen like Black people face to face.
Even in London, as multicultural as it gets, like there's still certain places where
Of course.
So imagine how it is outside where they don't see Black people
at all. Yeah, it's still gonna get panned. And to be honest, I feel like the whole protest thing, I agree with Mons as well. Like, it's a slow process, it's a slow this and that. But like I said, with everything that's happening right now, it's all about continuation, because things rise and fall, and the protesters are going to go home eventually. Like, this is eventually going to die down to a certain level, maybe not completely, but you're not going to be protesting for 4 months. You're eventually going to go.
Which is the problem I have with it, where we've protested, we've been protesting, and it's very different when, no matter. I think the reason why we protest as well is because we see a lot of times when we see white people protest the shit, and because they've protested, they get what they want. So we think, oh yeah, let's protest as well. When you have to understand, we can protest all we want. If the person you're protesting for doesn't want to hear what it is, because you have to think, no matter how we protest, you can do Colin Kaepernick, kneel down. It's not enough. You could put black screens on your Instagram. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
You can go protest. You could go riot. They don't care, because, bruv, if somebody doesn't want to swallow a pill, no matter how you try to give them that pill, they're not gonna swallow it. They just won't. They just won't.
And I think go on.
We just have to get to a point where it's kind of like, cool, you don't want to swallow this pill? Cool. That's fine. Don't swallow it. It's fine. Be racist. Be racist. Why is everybody saying don't be racist? Be racist. If you want to be racist, be racist. Be racist.
I think we should do an area starting and just put the pill in like a little pie or something and just force feed, because listen, they don't hear what
That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Be racist. Be racist. Just know, like I said, there will be one. It's not even one day, because I feel like that day is coming. It's so close. It's so close. It's so close. There will be one day when we as Black people will be tired of being punched. Yeah. And I'm not saying we're going to respond in a violent manner, because we know you guys wanted to respond in a violent manner so you can throw us in prison, especially in America because of the 13th Amendment. If you go to prison, you technically become a slave again, right? Because it takes away your right to vote. It basically, you can't work certain jobs because of that reason. You guys wanted to respond in a violent manner, but however way we respond, just know you're not going to like it. That's all I've got to say. That's all I've got to say.
I think after I think what we should also, the protest, I guess, light a beacon. If you didn't know before, you definitely do now. If you didn't think the UK was racist before, you definitely do now. If you didn't think Black people were getting killed, Black people are marginalized, Black people are suffering, so on and so forth, you definitely know now. And whether you go and find out the information or not, who knows, it's up to you. Even Black people, whether you're going to educate yourself or open your Instagram and pre what Shade were posting on this whole situation. That's all up to you, mate. But I think, other than the fact that the protest is a beacon and all of that good stuff there, it also comes to what we're going to do after the process is done.
Sorry, man. I was just laughing at this meme I saw earlier on. It was, of course, British people don't think they're fucking racist, because in school all they taught you was Henry VIII, a few wars here and there, and then they skipped all the racist bit and just jumped to World War One.
Blood. Their stuff is missing. But like, yeah,
divorced one, beheaded one, whatever. All the few Battle of Hastings. There you go. Oh, adventurous, and he just skipped all the racist shit they did.
It's mad because they teach man all the names of Donny's wives, yeah, but they don't teach you about the real shit that's going on in the country.
Yeah.
But
so I don't blame them for thinking they're not racist, because they're not. I mean, yeah. So
that's actually so true. They went from one place, and then there's a big, and then you see a little kid. What happened from here to here? And I'm like, no, forget that.
You don't worry about that.
Who is this guy? Get him out of here. But yeah, I think we need to think about what we're gonna do after the protest is done, and more importantly, because obviously I'm sure you lot have seen the hashtags, or you hashtag like 10 black businesses, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I see the notion, but that idea is pants. I ain't seen a more pants idea than tagging 10 businesses.
That is what you call performative.
I don't understand. I guess in terms of awareness, cool, but I just don't. But then again, it makes sense. Like, we're trying to support black businesses. We're trying to, funnel whatever into. But cool, we're doing it now. In 6 months, so you're still going to be tagging 10 black businesses. Because if you are, then that's what man needs to be seeing on the gram. What Instagram pages are out there? What businesses are out there? What TVs are out there that are consistently, continuously supporting black lives, black businesses, education, history. There's the history of black people, whether you're Caribbean, whether you're African. Where is that? Like,
whether you're there's no such thing as whether you're Caribbean anymore, bro.
This is black people.
I mean, if you're from the Caribbean, it's calm, cool. We understand your families lived there for maybe 100 years or so. Yeah. But that's what they wanted us. That's what they wanted us to do, man. They divided us on purpose. So, and then now we have this petty little arguments between ourselves. This, you guys eat rice and peas. You guys do this. You guys do that. Bruv, and sorry. And as you were saying, 6 months from now, I don't want to hear nobody listen to drill. Because if you're listening to, let me never go into it.
Yeah, so,
all of you that are screaming Black Lives Matter, Black Lives this, Black Lives that. 6 months from now, keep the same energy, please, with your actions. That's all I care about. Keep the same energy with your actions.
Consistent, continuous action on this whole Black Lives Matter business is what's gonna push us forward. Isn't it? People are talking about supporting black businesses and this and that. I think, especially with the support black business, I always see it everywhere. Support black business, put money into black business. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've seen some black businesses. Shocking. You want me to pay for this? You spent 20 minutes putting this shit together. Your website looks like arse. You want me to?
That's the whole point. The whole point.
Blood. No. Do you know what it is? Yeah. Kudos to the white people, because you know what they have. They have quality in certain places, bro. I can't log into your website and the picture of the girl, I can't even click on the thing because the picture's over it. There's no, bruv. Like,
yeah, but don't you think you giving them additional revenue would then mean that they'll be able to?
No, because before you get to a stage where you put up a website, where you do this, you do your research, you do, like, if I want to charge you a certain amount for a t-shirt, I want to charge a certain amount for a car, I want to charge a certain amount for something that I've made, the money has to match the quality of what I've made. You can't log into my website and you can't see the text because it blends in with the background. What the fuck is that? Well, I can't buy your product. There's no quality assurance. I've used it for 2 days. Shit's falling off in that. You know what I'm saying? So there's got to be quality in what you put out there. I hear supporting black businesses because that's the one you hear the most, but really, really free the black businesses that you want to push out there.
Bro, I understand what you're saying, but I get the sentiment, because I truly believe that the only way black people will ever be free of this, not ever be free, but the only way the quickest way for us to get free is by, like I was saying, occupying positions of power, amassing wealth, because there's this funny saying, money makes the world go around. It does, but bruv, we don't have enough of it as a community,
That's all.
right?
Yeah.
We don't have enough of it as a community, and part of having that wealth is about thinking about where and how we're spending our money, right? Which is funny, which brings me on to one of the points I wanted to make as well. A lot of people were calling on brands to make statements and say, "Oh, we support black people." Bruv, I saw this thing with Nike. Oh, we support black people. Oh, blah blah blah. Oh, well done. Look at us. It's not only that black people make you like a lot of your capital, and your company needs to go thank Michael Jordan for making you what you are today.
Bro.
But it's also the fact that you're fucking hypocrites. You can support black people, but you're still using kids to make your shit in Bangladesh.
Mad, innit? You know what's so mad, yeah? This is when I knew people had lost their minds, innit? TikTok put the whole little Black Lives Matter thing. And I'm thinking, there people like I seen a couple posts about it, and I'm thinking, you look crazy. TikTok that was taking down black videos and
Yeah.
a couple months back.
It became like a race. It became like a race. Oh, look at us, we support black. Oh, they got so much credit. Oh, look at us, we support black people too. Look at what we're doing for black people. Look at what we're doing.
Like
look at this.
With Nike and the other stuff, I don't really pay attention to brands like that. When I saw the TikTok thing, it's so mad because months ago, even just before the whole things went to suck, yeah, there was really like they were getting pounded because they were taking down content of black people, whether it was about Black Lives Matter, this and that. They had been taking down content, and now they put Black Lives Matter as their little logo thing on their website, and people think that they've said something big. Like, bro, these people were pounding us the other day, and we was getting onto them. Now they're screaming Black Lives Matter. If you can't realize that, bruv, it's not about trying to educate these people. It's more about letting these people know that whether you like it or not, whether you're educated or not, whether you want it or not, or you see it as all right or not, shit is gonna happen regardless. And you ain't got a choice on whether black people move forward or not. We're just doing it anyway. You know what I'm saying? So protest, educate yourself, get your money up.
Yeah.
I want to talk about
just educate yourself, man. That's the most important thing. Educate yourself. And I'm not as much as I think, yeah, the protest doesn't help or blah blah blah. That's my personal opinion, innit? If you think it helps, go out there, do it. This is about the time where we've all got to do what we think is the best for the black community, right? It doesn't matter. So go educate yourself on your history and your lineage. Find out about your country. Not necessarily then it then should make you look at white people in a disdain manner. But if that's the conclusion you come to, bruv, do it. Purge yourself of that. Right? And then from then on, take the necessary steps where you feel that you're helping the black community. So for example, if you're a rapper, right? If you're a rapper and you've learned about your lineage, like let's say you're Ghanaian, you learn about your lineage, you see what the British or whatever has done to your country, and then now you've gained this new knowledge and you've researched how to empower black people. So now what can you do? Maybe your team should be black, you know, like your team, your manager is black, your accountant is black, this, that, and the third. Because if enough of us, there's this thing where, you know, one of my favorite Jay-Z bar is that when you make it, people in America, a lot of people always say that in the hood, it feels like a crab in a barrel mentality, right? Where if one person makes it, everybody else is trying to drag you down to make it too. And they always say, they always use the analogy like crabs in a barrel, right? That's the mad analogy everybody likes to use. But what they don't tell you is that crabs don't belong in a barrel. They don't. So if you put people in a situation where they don't belong in, they don't act naturally the way they're supposed to act. Right? So if enough of us, right now, it feels, and I know it feels like that. It feels like in almost every industry, there's just always one, right? There's always that one black person, or like two, maybe, if we're lucky, right? That managed to get to that position. But if enough of us are at that position, if for every single fucking big brand, every single fucking banking system or whatever, there's 12 people in the board. If six is black, then that gives us a voice in every room. That's what we need to do. That's the position we need to get into. We need to put ourselves in a position where we have a voice in every decision-making system that's going to affect us. No, and by that, it means that those people who do make it to the top, we don't give them an opportunity to slack off, because they know, you should know, if you slack off, there's 10 hungry black young men and women who are ready to take my place and keep their agenda going.
Waiting. You know what the thing is?
Right now,
like I keep saying, I don't care what happens in it. Like, we need to do what we need to do, but I just want everyone to understand that when we want to fill these spaces, when we want to occupy these spaces, bruv, you need to be so good. You need to be above good. Like, you need to be above excellent, because obviously, these people, they're already trying to pull you down. So being good at your job is not enough. You need to be no. You need to be so good there that when you get there, just nothing you can say. Like, it would be
It's not debatable.
Undebatable, criminal.
But that's the thing.
Alright,
but that's the thing. That's the thing, though. That's the thing. You look at anything where a mass amount of black people have tried to do, bro. Eventually, we become the best at it.
Yeah.
Eventually, we become the best at it. Music. They said we weren't allowed to play music, right? Look at the charts now. Everybody wants to do up rap. Everybody wants to do up R&B. Look at movies. Look at sports, right? Look at how dominant we are in sports.
Easily.
Look at anything of that sort. Anything where a mass amount of black people do, bro, because we do this thing within our community where we expect the best out of each other, right?
100.
We expect the best out of each other. It's not a 9. You can't get no 9 out of 10 on the test. It's come you got a 9 out of 10 on the test, or you got to get 12 out of 10 on the test, bro. You got to write extra answers. You got to make your own questions and write the answers down as well, cuz. Right? It's got to that point. Yeah. Let them know, bro. I know all of this shit.
Come on.
We get we become the best at it. So that I'm not even worried about that bit. The bit I'm worried about is that we are not, as a community, I do not feel like we are funneling enough people into those spaces. We are not funneling in, and I don't know whether it's due to the media in terms of, and like I said, with what I was saying earlier on, with the poverty line and everybody doing what they've got to do, everybody doing what they've got to do for their family. Maybe that's the reason. But then we have to get to a point where enough black people are in those positions to be able to then help the rest do on.
So with the poverty point, yeah, would you agree that if, say, we only make 4% of the population, but 40% of us are in poverty, wouldn't poverty,
we make 4.
Go on.
I was gonna say we're 4%. There's 4 in the UK population, 4% are black, and in total UK population of the people in poverty, 40% of them are black.
Are black, cool. So
black
that's
and
the
brown.
last percent. Yeah, that's the last percent. Yeah, cool. So in places of poverty, what do you see more likely than not?
More crime.
There we go. So if they're putting us in these environments and putting us in these situations where we're already at a deficit, so like to get to that point, we have to go above and beyond. That's like when you're getting dressed for primary school, your mom's putting your collar, she's ironing your shirt, she's telling you, you have to do twice as much as your counterpart to get to the same place because we're already at a disadvantage.
We're already at a disadvantage.
Because of these factors that we go through, thingy, to get to those places where you're talking about, we have to be in these boardrooms and stuff. How do you think like we're gonna like get to them places, or how do you feel like we can break that barrier in which like we can get over that kind of
personally for me, I think the best way to do it, and I can't believe I'm about to say this, bruv, is through the education system, right? I think personally that's the way, and it's so hard for me to say this because it makes me a hypocrite, because I, like, as you guys know, I want to make films. I want to write films. I want to produce films. I want to do all of these things. There are loads of kids who want to be football players. There's loads of kids who want to be rappers, who want to be musicians, who want to be this. Bruv, at the end of the day, as much as us black people do love those things, we only make up 4% of the population. The other 96% are the ones who are truly taking in those things. So I know we make this joke about, like, I made this joke about Stormzy, where people who listen to Stormzy are white boys with quiffs who wear skinny jeans. Bruv, it's true. We are putting ourselves in a position because when we entertain the white man, we get money for it. Right? We get money for it. We play football, you get 400k a week, blah, blah, blah. It's money because that helps you and your family. But I don't know whether we have to be in a position where you have to be extremely selfless. Where rather than going down the football route, you go, no, I want to be a lawyer. And that's down to our generation now to instill those into our kids. Where we get it. I get it. You're so fucking talented at football, bro. And you would make it. But is that really what the black community needs? Do we need another football player?
I think we do. I think we just need to just.
To be
But the
honest,
thing, I feel like if you're good at football, go through and do it, because even the footballers like Raheem Sterling and stuff, fighting the battle of or Pogba, like they'll do something where it's like, okay, cool. Robbie Keane used to celebrate, roll over, put gum fingers at the thing, but no one said anything. But Pogba does a little dance now. Oh yeah, he thinks he's this, he thinks he's that, and those flipping pundits on Sky Sports that are chatting shit about football all the time. Like Graham Souness, idiot, fam. You're shit at football as well. I'm just saying, you're fucking trash. Just saying.
I'm not saying. What I'm more focused. I'm not focusing on the ones that have made it. I'm focusing on the ones that haven't, bro.
I think the
because as you know, it's only 1 in a million who would make it as a football player.
But do you know the problem is, yeah, footballers, rappers, niggas that got 10 chains on, they're driving the car, one of the wheels buy your mortgage, bruv. The people that are doing those flashy, crazy stuff are sometimes the only people that a lot of black people see. You don't see the doctor. When was the last time you saw a doctor with a fat chain and a fat rollie, as barefoot as blazing music? When did you see a lawyer just in his fat whip just doing a mad thing? You don't really see those.
It's because we get conditioned to think that is what we want.
But that's what I'm saying. So in terms of this whole black excellence movement, remember I was telling you the whole protest is a movement. It's a beacon. But what we need is a hub of things that celebrate black people, but also things that celebrate opportunities that black people don't fully occupy already. We know we know we're wavy at basketball. Sports is not a thing. Music is not a thing. Movies we're bad boys. But
we need a big push towards the places where we're not occupying.
Not even where we're not occupying, where it may seem like we're not occupying, because there's definitely black lawyers. They're out there. There's definitely engineers.
Yeah, but it's a handful. It's a handful.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Because if you think about British, I agree with you. If you think about British music right now, British music. If I asked you to name fucking 5 British musicians, you're naming 5 like rappers.
Off the top
of your head, and that might just be maybe because we don't listen to pop music or whatever. But if you were to go on the street and ask the black person, not the black person, a normal person, not normal, any person, name 5 British musicians, chances are they're gonna name more black than white musicians.
But what I'm saying is, those handful of people in those spaces where there's only a select few of us, those are the people that we need to document. Those are the people that we need to push into the spaces that, like, for example, you see the rappers on TV, you see all these people on TV, but a black lawyer is not going to get a music video. What's he doing in the music video? He ain't dropping no bars. He ain't wearing no fat chains. You know what I'm saying? There might be 10 lawyers. Imagine there was only 10 lawyers in the UK, you would never know about them. But if there's a documentation on how many lawyers are in the UK that are black and the kind of money they make, anyone who wanted to be a lawyer, who even thought about it, thought it might be a career path they can take, that's 10 people that they can look up to. So what I'm saying is, the people that are in those spaces, lawyers, engineers, people that, you've got the musicians and you've got all the people behind the musician, all the people behind the football players, all the people behind the basketball players.
They don't show you those people.
They don't show you those people. And a lot of those people, there's black people there. So obviously the African thing is being a doctor, being a lawyer, being a this and that, there's bare stuff, but there's even before you get there, there's other stuff all the way over there that man don't even know about, that's possible for us. You know what I'm saying? And so football players, engineers, musicians, basketball, all of that stuff is great, but there's places that we occupy on a not a lower level, but just there's not a big number of us there, where people are still succeeding, people are still maintaining a happy lifestyle.
Right. That's true, but I'm saying we need more of those. We should not settle for the few amount that we have.
I'm agreeing with you. What I'm saying is, in order to get people to see that, we need to push that. Because
100%.
I'm saying we need to push that out there so more people see it, so more people know that it's available.
100%.
Rather than, obviously, not saying that the rappers and the footballers shouldn't get their shine. It is what it is. But the people that are in those spaces, in order for
should get a shine also.
Yes, to get a shine also. And in order to do that, it's gonna be up to us to document those people, to interview those people, to ask them how their lifestyle is, so that other people know that this is possible for people in our community. Like,
it's achievable,
achievable. So, bruv, you can.
Do you know how many times when I'm at work and I have to call someone and I think to myself, bruv, do you know how many people who I know who would be so sick at this job?
Bro.
Who would be so sick at this job? I think. Remember, I told you. I said I think you would be sick at this job. Mons would be sick at this job. Fucking Abdul would be sick at this job.
Abdul would be wavy.
All right, shout out Abdul, friend of the show, man.
Come on.
But we don't think to ourselves as we don't see that as a career path because partly because we don't think it exists. We don't even know it exists. I didn't know that people were selling shit like that.
Bro. And not just
when I read through magazines, I don't think people are selling. Somebody sold this ad into this. I don't like. Look, I'm just using my one as an example, but there's so many things that, and that's because historically, a lot of ways people get into with advertising and media, for example, is to their uncle worked there, so they brought as soon as they leave uni, they bring their nephew, they bring their niece. If we need to be able to do that too, bro. The only places at the moment we're allowed to bring our niece into is fucking Tesco. Not that's not if you got to do what you got to do for your family, obviously. 100. But that shouldn't be our only option. Yeah, I know somebody my uncle works in Marks and Spencer, so he's got me the job pattern. No, I want to be hearing my uncle is on the board of Deloitte.
Yeah.
I'm working there this summer.
Do you think obviously all of these things we need money, you need money to make money. A funding for just the documentation of Black and brown people in other spaces where they're doing well, right? I think that would benefit the community, but who's going to step up to do that? Who's got the expertise to make that kind of documentary? Where they're going to get the money from? Because we know the white people are funding us, so we can forget about asking for their help. Why we don't even need to put it on BBC. We can slap it on a YouTube channel that people are used to. Do you know what I'm saying? There's bare stuff to push what we're doing. That's not in the mainstream. That's not in the spotlight.
Yeah. This whole episode we're talking about Black Lives Matter. So if you don't like it, please don't watch.
I'm not gonna lie, if you don't like this episode, just unsubscribe.
Yeah, I was just about to say unsubscribe.
And don't even watch our things again because that's what we're on.
Fine. Even though we only get 50 views, we don't care. We'll speak our mind, innit?
50 real niggas.
Yeah, we'll take 50 real niggas.
And people of other ethnicities that we do support as well.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of it is getting misconstrued the most with Black Lives Matter. I think a lot of people are seeing this. They're seeing it. I think what the guy I was arguing with earlier on saw it as it was a time when people were more aware, right? Everybody was taking in information. So if you had your own agenda, this is the time to push it, right? So when she said, Muslims' lives matter, obviously Muslims' lives matter, but what
are we talking about right now?
That's not what we're talking about right now. And this is because I think a lot of people think that because everybody on Instagram is posting it, that means that the message is going through.
It's not.
When it really isn't.
Social media is a bubble. Because the thing is, even if you think about Brexit, even going back to the Brexit point, everybody on Twitter was like, "Oh yeah, we've got this in the bag."
That's because everyone in London thought we were going to
run. Because they follow the same bubble. You might have 2K followers, but fam, listen, that's all a bubble.
Bro, that's the thing.
Still in the UK, no one gives a toss.
That is the thing. Out of the population of the world, only 1 billion people are on Instagram, right? So that means if you use that statistic, 1 out of 7 people, if you walk down the road, will only have Instagram. 6 other people won't have it. So everybody sees social media as kind of the whole world speaking. It isn't. It isn't. Just because everybody is posting the same thing about this or Black Lives Matter thing, that doesn't mean that you push your own individual agenda to it, right? And I'm not telling you that you should wait for your own issues to be, for it to be resolved. So if you're Muslim, for example, and you're really passionate about Muslims being killed, fine, fight that battle, but don't use the same Muslims' lives matter. You know what I mean? Yeah. Don't use that because then that waters down our message.
They're riding off that wave.
That waters down our message. If we're saying Black Lives Matter, we're saying it for a reason. It's because we're tired of being killed. I was saying this to my mum yesterday as well, because my mum was saying, she understands why people are rioting, why people are looting and stuff. She was just saying she feels bad for those small business owners who own the little shops, who are on the poverty line as well, who are trying to help their family and their souls just getting burnt, all this stuff. I was like, yeah, I get that point, but it's come to a point where people have had enough. People are scared. People are scared, bruv. I'm scared, I'm scared.
Do you know
Because
what
if I have an altercation and the police comes to me now, being as big as I am and as tall as I am, you might just automatically see me as a threat. That scares me because I'm not a threat. I don't see you as a threat. I'm a very loving person. Anybody who knows me will tell you I'm a loving person. But you automatically see me as a threat, and that scares me because you know in the back of your head, if you fucking kill me, there are no repercussions for that.
Cool. Not unless
there hasn't been a conviction in the UK, bro. There hasn't been a conviction in the UK of a black person death in custody, bro.
No, does it?
And there's loads of shit. There's so much of it is happening.
People think it's only happening in
America.
In America, it's happening here as well. Like even off the top of my head, Julian Cole, altercation outside a bar now. Police have roughed him up or done something. He didn't even die, but they roughed him up to the point where he was paralyzed.
And they put him in their van for a long time. And then it's come out after. Yep,
they lied. They said like how you walked into the van.
And it's come out after that if they'd taken him straight to the hospital, he wouldn't be in the vegetative state he is right now.
Yep.
No conviction, zero convictions.
Yep.
So it's very I mean, sometimes I think as a white person, I must feel just to hear us all speak all these things and we say it so angry. But you have to understand, if you're one of the good whites, the anger isn't directed at you. Even though we might say it, but it's because a lot of them want us to give them logical answers. We can't be logical because we're emotional. We're too emotional. Too many of us have died. We've seen too many of us die when they shouldn't have died. George Floyd had a daughter. What's this done with her relationship with the police now?
Yeah, it's peak. More so,
she now knows the way the world looks at her because of her skin tone.
More so if he had not more so, but if he had a son as well, like considering the relationship between black males and police officers.
The police.
If that was his son, and he eventually his son would have grown up to learn that his father was racially profiled and blah blah blah, and then killed by white police officers. Bear in mind the relationship between black males and police officers already is peak enough as it is.
But this is why though. This is why, because things like this keep happening and we see it happen so many times. The people who are supposed to protect us.
Bro, they're not, you might keep saying protect us, blood. They ain't protecting nobody but themselves and other white.
Bro,
because it was built for themselves, it wasn't built for us.
I was saying, so I think the core idea is that we all need to just slowly burn into our head is this racism thing isn't because of a lack of education. For some people, it might be. It's harder to be racist to someone that you've grown up with all your life. Like Clem said earlier, like you can't be racist with men that you've grown up in school with. The whole multicultural aspects of London itself is what makes it harder to be racist because.
But there are people who still choose to be racist.
Those people, they're going to a separate dungeon in hell in it. But that's for them.
Oh, you fucking alone, mate.
But like, I'm saying, so growing up multicultural is hard to be racist in it. But some people, whether they are educated or not, they're still going to be doing what they're doing. Some people don't care at all. So I think what we need to realize, and however long it takes us, is to know that listen, whether you're educated or not, whether you know it's happening or not, whether you've got a voice or not. It's not to educate people, it's not to tell people that black people are getting killed so they stop doing it. Right. It's to educate ourselves. Because they're going to be racist regardless, whether you educate them or not, whether you tell them or not, whether you give an opportunity for them to redeem themselves or not, they're still going to do what they're going to do. So we need to understand that no matter what we say or how much we say or try to educate them, whether the message goes through or not, it's on us to move how we need to move.
Mm-hmm. And that's so true because when you look at like I was saying with the whole John Boyega stuff, where man is tweeted, I fucking hate racists, and everybody was like, well, but
what, Maggie? What?
If
you're triggered, bro,
if you're a human being. Bro. If you're a human being, if you're a decent, not even a decent, if you're just a human being, you should hate a racist person. You should just hate a race. Anybody who, if you're looking at the skin tone, someone's skin tone, and from that you're determining that they're inferior to you, I fucking hate you. I hope you die. I hope you die the worst death.
Man.
I hope the way you die, I hope it's slow, painful, fucking. And if your family feel the same way, I hope your bloodline gets wiped out.
You know,
I said, pew, pew. Like for real, I hope your bloodline gets wiped out.
And I feel like
Hey, you know what? Go on.
if you're irritated by that statement, then boy, I mean, if the shoe.
If you're irritated by that statement, you can suck my dick.
I was gonna say something crazy.
You can suck my dick.
I was gonna say something crazy. I was gonna say something. I had to look at this camera like.
What were you gonna say? What were you gonna say?
Man's not saying that, blood. I'm not saying that. I'd have to.
You know what?
I'd have to pause it. But carry on.
You know what's so funny? Yeah. You know what's so funny? Twitter coming out and saying, "Oh yeah, we stand by this, and we're gonna black out our thingy." But there's people. I'm not gonna say a name, but there's one white lady on Twitter that's constantly saying, "Muzzling about black people,
Okay,
about Muslims, mad thing." Anyway, carrying on. Yeah.
So
people like that keep on going, and it'll be us black people that'll be going back and forth bantering each other on the internet, and then they'll just deactivate our account, but her account hasn't been.
She's done. Yo. I've never wished violence on somebody before, but you know what Katie Hopkins reminds me of? She reminds me of that guy in school who had the bad older brother, so would always talk nonsense because they know that if you touch them, their older brother is coming. And Katie Hopkins' older brother is the police, in case you guys haven't put two and two together. But not in my life have I ever seen somebody who needs to get bitch slapped before. She needs to get bitch slapped. She needs to understand in life, right? This is what my dad used to tell me this. In life, if you do something, you have to accept the consequences of what you do, right? No matter what you do, you could do the worst thing in life, but once you've done it, you have to accept the consequences. If you punch someone in the face and the person dies, you have to understand the consequences. You have to just accept it because you did it. A lot of these people are doing things because they don't have to deal with the consequences of what they're doing. And one of them is Katie Hopkins. She's doing all of these, she's saying all of these things because she's protected.
Yeah, but
one day your protection will run out. One day we will catch you lacking. And one day you're gonna eat fists.
Come on. I'm not for violence in that, but that was.
I'm not for violence.
If I've heard a speech, that's if I heard that speech and I saw Katie Hopkins, even if I'm,
it's on site.
Even if I'm the most peaceful person, if I those the last 4 lines you just said, I think we just clip it and put it somewhere. If I saw Katie Hopkins at my breakfast Saturday and I see her, bro, best believe she gets slide tackled underneath the bruv. She finished. Are you crazy?
Nah, bro, like I deeped it. Like when I saw the tweets from her, I was like, this is somebody who's never been beaten up before for chatting shit. You know, one time, you know when you're young, there's certain things you do that your parents will let slide, but then there's one thing you do that you get the good arse whipping for, so you remember that this is not a line you should ever cross again.
And you know
until you're grown enough.
You know it's mad. You know it's mad when you remember the way you got fist up. Not even just the fist up itself, but how you felt before.
Like the method.
How you felt,
You're thinking, blood. Before Donny touched me, my spirit already left my body, bro.
That's what she needs. That's what she needs.
Yeah, she needs to feel that, bro. But like you said, there's no repercussions. There's nothing's gonna happen in it. So, boy,
that's what she needs.
Keep doing what she wants to do. But on that topic though, in terms of like real questions and that, yeah, deep in the whole situation, and hopefully with hard work and whatever in the right places and so on and so forth, black people will reach a place where maybe not so much we're not discriminated against, but we're at a different position than we are now, and we're further ahead, and the community is this and that, more positive, so on and so forth, right? But the process to getting there,
it's long.
It's not just it's long, but how much can we do before we say this is a mad thing? I know we're trying to improve our economy. I mean, our community. I know we're trying to fight for our rights, but this is a mad thing because the white people, their history is full of murder and bloodshed and rape and doing a mad thing, and they can't
looting
and loot and you can't
fucking looters.
You can't outrun that. You can't outlive it. It's part of your history. There's nothing they can do. Do you know what I'm saying? Is that going to be the same for us when we get to the place that we're fighting to get to, that we're protesting for, that we're tagging 10 black businesses for? When we get there, are we going to look back and think, did we need to do this? Did we need to do that? We could have avoided this. I think.
Ore, I get what you're saying.
I hear the outrage. I
get what you're saying. But there's a difference between sitting down and thinking, Donna, what's for dinner today, Donna? Oh, all right. Okay, cool. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna get on our ships. We're gonna sail to this place in Africa called Nigeria or something like that. We're gonna go there. We're gonna rape their women, kill their brothers and sisters. We're gonna take the artifacts. 100 years from now, we're gonna charge the bastards to come into our country and look at it. There's a difference between that and just sitting down and then going to just senselessly just go kill people and steal their stuff. There's a difference between that and you're being the one being killed, fighting back, doing what needs to be done.
That's what I'm saying. No. I'm not saying that.
And if 100 years from now, we're seen as, no, I don't even want to, because I know this will never happen. If 100 years from now, we're seen as equal, and what we've had to do in return, no, I'm not saying that being seen as equal won't happen, but I'm saying 100 years from now, if we're looking back and seeing that what we've had to do, and a lot of it is violence, and a lot of it is loads of deaths.
Violence, and maybe some deaths ain't even what I'm looking at, but there's definitely a line. We're nowhere near it, but I think it is possible. I just want.
Lines are made to be crossed.
I hear you, but I just want to know what if you think it's possible that there can be a line that we can cross, that when we look back on, it tarnishes what we've achieved. I know it's crazy to think of because obviously what's our history and what's happening right now is very peak. But if
the only way that will happen is if we've murdered, killed, stolen, raped innocent people. I think that's the one part where we can look back on and think. But if you're not innocent and you've been murdered, again, I'm not inciting violence. I'm a very peaceful person. I'm a pacifist. I don't believe in violence. But if you do believe in violence, that's you. You could do what you want. Yeah. Me, I don't. If you feel like that's the way to go.
But like you said earlier, especially in America, especially even over here, they're just waiting for us to act up in it. So if violence is the option, then it is what it is. But if we can do without the violence, as unorthodox as maybe for some people,
you know what they say. Sometimes you got to speak the language your enemy understands.
I hear you. But like I said,
you got to speak the language your enemy understands, man.
I hear you 100%. I hear you 100%. But
because we're not violent.
No, we're not.
We've never been violent.
But
if we were violent, they would have never been able to get to Africa, bro.
What I'm saying is,
there's loads of uncontacted. Sorry, I keep cutting you off. There's loads of uncontacted tribes in the world right now, where if you were on a boat and you tried to get there, you're dying. They're throwing spears and shit at you. They're giving you the 360 kill shot aim, bro. The sniper aim, cuz. You're not getting nowhere.
What I'm saying
clearly, we were violent.
What I'm saying is, if we have the option, if there's a clear path where we could do a mad thing, I'm talking, you see the street down here, there's 20 white people living on this street. By the time we finish with this street, bruv, every one of them will be buried underneath their houses. That's how much crud we're on. If we're on that level,
that's what they did to us with flipping Black Wall Street, but go on, Karen.
Black Wall Street.
If we're on that level of crud, if that option is there, and then there's the other option where not exactly with the same amount of violence, but we can just take this approach and we can achieve the same thing, then I think maybe we should consider taking the approach.
Of course, but that's what we've been doing, bro. I think go when the podcast is gone, go learn about Nat Turner. Right? Nat Turner was a slave, and he was a pastor during he was the house nigger, or whatever you want to call him, the house negro, and every Sunday he will be preaching the word of God, right? Like read the Bible, because a lot of the slaves couldn't read. He could read. Read the Bible to them, teach them the word of God. And one day he realized that the white men were using him as a vessel to hold black people down with the word of God, right? And when he realized this, he kept reading his Bible, found out ways he could reverse that, started preaching, got the slaves to fight back, to the point where they took back the plantation. And then not only did they didn't stop there, they then went to loads of other plantations and killed the white men on there. They don't teach us this. right? They don't teach us. They won't teach us these things
I hear you.
for a reason, because they don't want us to incite violence in them. Again, I'm not a violent person. I'm a very, very peaceful person. Anybody who knows me will tell you this. But like I was saying, there comes a point when a man is tired of being punched and will punch back. And back then, it was the acceptable thing to do, because back then, literally, you were being punched.
Yeah.
Now, as much as we are punched,
it's covert punching.
Yeah. It's covert punching. So that means that now, when we punch back, there's got to be covert undercover as well. Yeah. So by that, when they say support black businesses, cool. Yeah, we support black businesses. Make sure that our version of Pretty Little Things is what is popping. So that then when they want to come get a job at our place, when they want to come get a job at our place, we can go, no, sorry, we only hire people with melanin in their skin. So you know how it feels. You get that gut punch where you're like, but I'm a decent person.
Sorry,
I don't believe in racism. Neither did I. But I didn't get that job back then.
It's a bit mad, yeah. I hear you.
I'm not saying that violence is the way to go, but it's more kind of you have to speak that.
Yeah, I feel like it's like, say, so like, you know, with Rosa Parks, where the black people, after that whole thing, they boycotted the bus companies, started carpooling, doing all them things, and it had an economic impact on the white people. That's when we started to see a change. Like, okay, actually, sorry, let's try and sort this out and whatever. Then you think, I feel like if we hit them where it hurts, instead of like, no, the phrase "hit them when it hurts" can be used, because obviously they can use violence or like physical acts or something. But if you try and find ways, like, for example, economic kind of ways, in order to, you know, fund the black people, put money in black people's pockets, and maybe find a way to, you know, change what's going on, then that will be a more, you know,
it's beating, bro. Have you ever seen? It'll be a better way. It was beating them at their own game. Have you ever seen when India beats England at cricket? Do you know how happy they get? They celebrate like it's fucking Christmas, bro. You know why? You know why? Because English people came to the country to look for herbs and spices, which they don't fucking use, by the way. But went there to look for herbs and spices. And whilst they were there oppressing the people, as they do so casually, taught them cricket, right? Even though it's something so little. You brought this to our country, and now we beat you at it. It's about beating them at their own game, bro. Yeah. And there was this thing I saw talking about Black Wall Street. There was this thing I saw where Kanye was talking about Martin Luther King, and he was saying Martin Luther King wasn't assassinated for his "I Have a Dream" speech. He was assassinated because he had another speech he was about to give about black empowerment, economic empowerment. Right? We've seen over and over and over again, when we respond with violence, they're very happy. It makes them happy because that proves that proves their point. Oh, these people are violent. Look at them. Yeah, look at them. They're doing this. They're looting. They're thugs. They're this. They're that. But then once we start trying to empower each other economically, we start empowering each other, owning, bro. They don't. Kanye said the exact words. They don't want us to believe that we can own land in their country. They're very happy for us to keep renting. They're very happy to put us in council estates. Why do you think they're so happy to put us in council estates?
Yes, man.
Why do you think they're so lucky to give us a flat, make you feel privileged that you've got that? We can own land, bro. We can own land.
Like I said, it's not like there's not black people out there who own land, who educated themselves. It's all about documenting it and getting it out there and creating that platform. Let people know, and that platform needs to be consistent and good. And I'm not just only showing the good side, the good and the bad, but just continuously shining the light on the things that black people are doing, the places that they're getting to. So other black people know it's possible, and it needs to be a 24/7, 365 all day, every day. Whether it's an Instagram page, whether it's a YouTube page, whatever it is, it needs to be consistent, because it could be a random day in the year that someone who, you know, who's black might stumble upon your page, stumble upon one of your videos, and it could be that one video that they see, you know, talking about black lives, talking about empowering yourself economically, savings, making money, your career, your industry, whatever. That opens them up to that whole new world, and they see your page and they see your YouTube videos, and they know that this is possible, that's possible, this is steps I can take. Maybe it's not word for word and not spoon feeding them, but at least they know that it's possible. Imagine now you have that page and you're not posting regularly, or like you've posted like 8 videos and now you're posting All Lives Matter, and that's the video they stumble
You're so
upon.
right. You're so right. You're so right. You're so right. I think it needs to be. I think it needs to be beyond. It needs to be beyond social media, bro. If I'm being completely honest, it needs to be beyond social media. There's got to be something that is in our faces 24/7.
Yeah,
there's got to be something in our faces 24/7, bro. We need to go as black people. We need to be able to. Those lawyers, bro. If you deep it, growing up, when did we ever have a black person come give us an assembly in a school that we went to where it's predominantly full of black students? A black lawyer, or a black doctor, or a black scientist. It was always a white man that they put in front of us. Not because the blacks weren't. Not because the black people don't hate the blacks. Not because black people weren't in those positions. But there's something about showing you that this is a white man's world that they just love doing every single time, and they do it with every opportunity they get, bro. They do it with every opportunity they get.
The shit that I'm talking about is gonna be so pro-black, yeah. The white people are like, fucking hell, listen, I'm tired of this shit. Every fucking black, it's got to be so pro-black, yeah, that even I'm thinking, fam, you lot need to calm, like consistent, like I'm saying, consistent and continuously every.
But that starts with us. It starts with
definitely.
You want to make the world a better place. Take a look at yourself and make that change.
Yeah,
you have to look at yourself in the mirror. Even though Tiny Temple was chatting frass the whole time, but one of the smart things he did say is you got to look at yourself in the mirror and then think, what am I doing to benefit black people, or what am I doing to hinder black people? It's fine because you can subconscious, whatever, not knowingly, you can hinder your fellow brothers and sisters, right? But then if you've done that in the past, it's not time to feel guilty now. It's time to assess it and think, what can I do as a black person moving forward to make sure that I am benefiting my community, I'm benefiting the people who look like me? Because when I have kids, or when my brother has kids, or when my friends have kids, I want their kids to grow up in a world where they're not just going to be killed by the police just because they're black. Oh, fun thing I saw as well, just in regards to America, it takes longer for you to get a barber license in America than it does to become a police officer.
Right.
It takes longer for you to be able to give my man a 2-2 trim than to use a gun in America. If that doesn't explain how fucked up, and people were saying, oh, you need to be, and I'm jumping from place to place. And people are like, fucking, what was I gonna say again? People, it's not the police, blah blah blah. It's no, it's not that. It's not the police. They need to be better with who they're choosing to become police officers. You need to understand that they're choosing the right people who they want to fucking choose. Yeah, if it makes sense for you, for people, it's worse in America in terms of like the suburbs in America. It'll be like if someone grew up in fucking Shropshire, where the only thing they've seen about black people is on fucking the news saying this person's been stabbed, this person's been stabbed, and then now they're fucking police officer in Peckham. I'm not surprised that they look at us and think we're a threat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, hey.
And yeah, our emotions on this podcast might be very scattered. We're jumping from one place to another, but that's just because that's how we feel as people right now.
Come on. Unity.
It's our time to get everything off our chest. If you don't fucking like it, like I said earlier, suck my dick.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody else has anything else to say. I don't feel comfortable doing banter. I know there was a couple of things. I know there was like that block party, but it's stupidity. Anything that we need to cover again?
Not really.
Black Lives Matter.
Don't know.
Yeah, that's
it. That's today. Black Lives Matter.
If it's just another thing, it's last one we were saying that nothing's gonna happen without sacrifice, and it's gonna be very scary as an individual to take that first step. So if you feel like, not to say you're the chosen one, but if you feel like you can make a difference by doing this in the black community as a black person, then as scary as it's gonna be to make the first step, whether you get support or not, just do what you got to do. Whether it's making this YouTube video,
it'll impact at least one person.
You know what I'm saying? Whether it's taking your time to educate yourself before you come out and do whatever, whether it's to educate yourself about businesses. So imagine a black-owned business that's dedicated to empowering other businesses, educating other businesses, helping other businesses grow. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, even if that takes you months and years to educate yourself on, to build your stuff, do what you got to do. It's going to be scary, but it's going to be worth it because you're going to empower a lot of people. Obviously, it's a lot of selflessness and it's a lot of sacrifice, but it will make changes. Think like nothing's going to happen without sacrifice, without hard work. So
you're right.
Don't think we're going to start this and then we're going to get somewhere in like 2 days or 2 months without no sacrifice.
And then give up. Yeah,
it's not going to happen. It's got to be consistent, continuous, in your face, 24/7, pro-black, whether they like it or not. And hopefully, even just that little thing there will make a change. You know what I'm saying? So,
and I just want to, just on the back, off the back of that, I know we've been saying loads of stuff about like white people this episode. I want to say to those of you who understand the movement of Black Lives Matter, thank you very much. Well done to you. There will be other groups of people who don't understand it fully, but who are curious and want to understand it. And if you are one of those people who want to understand it, feel free to get in touch with us. We'll happily break it down to you. You shouldn't feel guilty for it because, like I said, it's all about it's about the way you've been raised, what you've taken in through your life. If it's something that you don't understand, but you really want to understand it because you stand against injustice, feel free to hit any one of us up. We'll happily break it down to you in bite-sized chunks for you to understand.
There's loads of material online that you can read.
And there's loads of material online as well.
You don't necessarily have to go to your black friends and ask them. There's actually so much
stuff
online.
You can honestly educate yourself even just a little bit before you ask questions, so you don't seem like a fool. But even if you don't want to do that, you just want to ask questions. At least
feel free.
You know what I'm saying?
So there's protests and stuff. Let's just make sure it's in the name of those who are fighting for George Floyd, Sandra Bland, Breonna Taylor, Sean Reed, all these people.
Ahmaud
Arbery. Doing it for.
Exactly.
There's loads of names that I probably got that off the top of my head, women and men. So Black Lives Matter. All lives don't matter until all lives matter. You know what I mean? As a community as well, we can't be like black people when it's like, but we're leaving this community and this community. If it's black men, black women, black trans, whatever, we're blackest together.
We're all black. We're black before anything. We're black before anything.
That's it.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
So man, that's been the thing. I know this topic is so draining. Like sometimes you go on social media, it's like it's draining. It's like you go from anger to sadness to anger to sadness. It's just mad. Like, but I feel like if we don't say anything, it's gonna get worse, isn't it? So I mean, man, and don't feel pressure to have to be uploading bare things in your story on Instagram as well, because if you are pro-black by yourself, then just don't be conforming to these lot and be doing what Twitter and what Adidas are doing, even though they're distancing themselves from people like Mr. Ozil who are fighting for Muslims that are being in concentration camps and stuff like that. So don't go down that road because they're just doing it as a PR stunt. So don't even follow them. So, but I'm talking loads. I want to sign out because you're probably bored of this. But say their names. Black Lives Matter. Skriya, boom, bow. That's been us.